That's too short.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, USB cable.
Good evening, and I'm calling this regular meeting of the Lakeville City Council to order on April 14th, 2020 at 6 p.m. and I will do roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Sarah.
Here.
Councilmember Bell is absent due to illness. Councilmember Lewis.
Present.
Councilmember McClellan.
Present.
Councilmember Gosnell. Here. All right, and Mayor Pro Tem is here. So join me for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, we call the meeting to order. There are no announcements, and I will go immediately to a presentation by Chief Mike Ritchie, and I'll let him take this forward. You just give us a second to get set up. Okay, you're good.
Let me preface the announcement by saying, or this award by saying, being in this profession several decades, I've probably only seen this award given out twice. And it is a ribbon, basically for a life-saving incident that this officer was involved in. He was recommended for this life-saving award by his supervisor and the EST chief. So I'm going to read it real quick. On Monday, October 21st, 2019, at approximately 1:53, Officer Gonzalez of the Blanco Police Department responded to a medical call for service in reference to a 74-year-old man who had been unresponsive and not breathing. Officer Gonzalez arrived on the scene at approximately 2 o'clock. According to members of the Blanco County Emergency Service Division, Officer Gonzalez was the first responding officer to arrive at the scene where he discovered that the victim suffered a heart attack. Officer Gonzalez then began rendering cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, in efforts to save the victim's life. Officer Gonzalez continued to suffer heart rate CPR until medics had been warned by the scene. According to EMS personnel, Officer Gonzalez did extraordinary resolve in order to save the life of the victim who just happened to be a 40-plus year volunteer for Blanco Fire Department. Those of you who do not know who that was Lincoln Hicks, who was a longtime resident of the area. Officer Gonzalez, immediate supervisor, and I believe Officer Gonzalez highly deserves to be publicly recognized for his outstanding and selfless actions, as well as the compassionate demeanor towards the victim and his family during this very emotional incident. The person was resuscitated. Officer Gonzalez showed a lot of emotion and helped the family through this. The victim eventually passed at the direction of the family by pulling medical devices, but due to Officer Gonzalez's selfless act, he did get to spend another 10 or so days with them. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen this. I would like to show it to the council. You pass around, you don't see it off the very often, but it is a life-saving ribbon. And it's my honor to be able to present this to Officer Gonzalez. In addition to that, I'd like to tell the council, you have a great police department. You've got a lot of good officers. All of them just very selfless, and they just do a great job. Just, I won't shake his hand due to the circumstances, but it's my honor to present to you. Thank you.
We are very thankful for Officer Gonzalez and all of our officers who love the police department. Thank you, Chief Ritchie. Are there any public comments at this time? None that I'm aware of. We will move forward into our consent agenda. And the first thing we'll do is, number one, is discuss and consider action on COVID-19. This is an update that I'm going to give to the council, to the public. Blanco has been very lucky in that we have not died, not having any cases of COVID-19. We have had 4. And as of our phone update today with the county and with our emergency services management group, we found out that 1 had completely recovered, and that was down to 3. There are, to my knowledge, 12 suspected, not confirmed yet. This is very good for the city. Everybody has been adhering to the 6 foot, stay safe, stay away from people. We are noticing that everyone is wearing masks. Judge Bray went ahead and enacted an order to stay home and stay safe, and everybody has adhered to that. Without question, we understand, as all of the community do, how hard this is on our local business owners. But I can say that everyone has learned very quickly what to go means, and we're all trying to organize and help our local businesses to where once this horrible pandemic is past us, that we will come back in roaring success. Governor Abbott, I believe, is starting to look at getting the business sector slowly but surely opened up. But everyone knows that this must be a slow process and not done quickly, so that we do not run the risk of this continuing to be a part of our lives. I hear people saying all the time about how that it's frustrating to be at home, but I can tell you that on this past Easter Sunday, I was up here at the office, and one of my concerns was how many people would be in the park area, in the Big Zone Park, and it was greatly adhered to. Everyone was very conscious of the fact that they needed to keep their distance. Please keep up the good work. Mayor Pro Tem Seder will be continuing to be in on the calls that come through the county and be giving updates as the meetings move forward. And just keep everyone in prayer and hope that our community can take advantage of the fact that we have a rural setting and that this will be a success and we will get past this without not any loss of life. I thank you very much. Are there any questions from the council?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I do not know if the governor or anybody's addressed this, but our city income is going to drop considerably because we're not collecting any.
Yes.
And we're going to have to be very careful with our budget. It's going to be a chunk of money.
Every city, I think, is going to experience exactly what you just said, the loss of sales tax because the people are not getting out, they're not being able to spend the money, and we're going to feel the pinch of it. So yes, budget time will be very tough for the council, and it'll be a difference, but well, that's,
Well, I mean, this is
Yeah, I think this
we counted on for this year,
Yeah.
not for next year.
no, it's going to continue.
Yeah, but it's,
And not only taxes, municipal court, there's less tickets being written right now, so
yeah.
we're gonna have to be really careful.
Really.
Yes, ma'am.
And Lavender Festival, they canceled it.
Lavender Festival, the last time that I spoke with Mrs. Alley, that they were going to get together, I think, in early May and have a very lengthy discussion about it to see where things are at this point. I know that they're definitely having consideration about it being canceled, but they have not, to my knowledge, made that decision yet.
What are the normal dates?
Lavender Festival is normally the first Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of June.
June. And the Blanco Classic Car Show has been canceled at this
That
point.
has been canceled.
That has been canceled. So we're already losing some of our activities that we normally have in the cities.
And then bringing revenue.
Yes.
All right, anybody else with COVID-19? Okay, that is our update.
Well, actually, since we're on it, I would like to say that I've been going around and looking at some of our businesses that have been operating and they've been working with Will at Code Enforcement, and Lowe's is doing a great job. I don't know if you've all been in there. They're wiping the carts down. They have hand sanitizer at the door. They have one entrance, one exit. They're doing a great job. So sneeze guards are up. So thanks to our Code Enforcement and all of our businesses that are operating in this difficult time.
Yeah, and one other thing, I'd like to publicly thank Milam and Green and Andalusia and Real L for
Yeah, absolutely.
donating the hand sanitizer.
Absolutely. I have a Ben Milam hand sanitizer right here. So thanks to them as
You're
well.
not supposed to drink it, right?
Yeah.
Not supposed to drink it.
This is just another way that our local brewery and distilleries have stepped up to do exactly what it needed to be done. They're reaching beyond their normal scope of business and they're seeing how they can help out the community. And we do applaud and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for that. All right, we'll move on to number 2. Mr. Cunningham, are you still there? No, bear with me. We're live and we're trying to learn everything. This is our finance advisor that I'm calling, and we have some major issues to deal with tonight on our water line.
This one
Would be June 12th.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, okay, now we're at number 2, this is, let me put your speaker. Number 2, this is the, consider an action with respect to the ordinance authorizing the issuance of $3,400,000 City of Blanco, Texas Combination Tax and Revenue Certificate of Obligation Series 2020 and other related matters. Mr. Cunningham, do you want to go ahead and go?
Members of the council. My name is Craig Cunningham. I'm with the Davis Company, services manager advisor. What I'm going to go over with you tonight is a document in your packet. Questions. So, borrower, he works with the city of Blackstone. This borrower is made purchased by Texas Water Company Board, non-council control partners report, and provided to the gate road. Engineering firms, work. The escrow payment, as well as entire obligations like this is known as the trust. That obligation will connect to $1 million combination tax and surplus revenue CROs series 2020. Those are completion bond obligations in your water. So this $4 million together with approximately $2.9 million that's on deposit in your 2017 account will take the sufficient funds for your water plant.
Craig, what we got going on is that so many different documents that we got after the loan was approved, that we had we might have missed it. So just keep going.
Okay. All right.
That should be.
This one,
Keep going, Craig.
right? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
And also a pledge of the surplus revenue from the city's utility system. So what this is saying is you can pay these obligations from taxes and from utility system revenue, the combination of both. So that's how these obligations are structured. So these proceeds will be used together with other monies you have on deposit to build your water plant. So that takes me to page 3. So
That's what I don't have.
$3.4 million. First two, cost of issuance or fees for the attorney general's filing fees, non-council, they need to have to other expenses related with the issuance of obligations.
Craig, this is the ordinance, right?
Well, that's sales summary.
Okay, well then here's my error, because I've been getting that into the council's packet. I could run that through account and print it real fast, but otherwise you're gonna keep going over it. We had so much stuff coming in and I missed that.
They don't see that I'll just stop there. Just for not looking at what I'm looking at. I'll just continue. For, you know, the about $90,000. The water works, lower origination, about $67,000. We're going to capitalize the first year's interest, so the city will have to pay interest on this during this fiscal year. The plan of this next year, there's about 7,000 engineering, 13,000 for special services, 18,000 contingency. All of that adds up to about $4 million. So, what you're voting on is an ordinance authorizing the sale of the river consolidation of water board. About $4 million, as I indicated. I think the one that we take away from what council would have is over 50, that's a 30-year term.
It's like 3 seconds.
Over 30 years, $1 million.
1.58% interest. That's good interest.
Interest rates are already low. Secondly, going to the water board, process, we have 1.5% reduction in our interest rate. So the revenue prices security, they may be at a yield curve, subtract the 1.5% off of that yield curve. So water cost would be at least 1.5% higher. So it's just, I can't emphasize enough without being mindful of the process that it's just such.
Okay, Craig, so you just know so that I can update you where council's at. I'll be the first one to say I apologize for my last meeting. I'm sorry that I've made it, but I don't have to have this in your packet, and I should have. And I can run next door and make a ton of copies, but
We don't need,
Yeah, we don't-
I don't need to see it.
my apologies.
Really, all of us, you know, I'd say actually, virtual, sure, everybody in the room understands the challenges. These are terms that are helping us. And so normally, and this, again, one of the other things about this, I think is important is that the mayor, myself, engineer, all of that, with the water board, earlier this year, encouraged and they allowed us to have an accelerated application process because they knew our construction contract was totally good. So I wanted to compliment the mayor, the water board and their staff were willing to come outside the box, if you will, and work with us. And right now, assuming you guys adopt this ordinance tonight, as the mayor signed all the appropriate documents to complete the transaction, it will close on May 7th. We'll go into the escrow account, be available to the contract, the notice to proceed with the
So Craig, let me ask you a question. This is very similar to when we did the loans for the wastewater treatment plant. We're going through the same process, is that correct? Okay. And when you're talking about the funds going into escrow, I'm not looking for exact, but roughly would we be looking at sometime in perhaps mid-June getting into actual construction?
That I've got to defer to the engineer, is much more to
Okay.
the readiness of the contractor, the plans, and all those things, but I can't imagine that you can't mobilize quickly. The only thing that's going to keep mobilizing quickly right now is any limitations placed on us by COVID-19. But I would defer to Tom and the engineers on that, and I think my reasonable conclusion is that we'll be mobilizing.
Well, Tom is here and he gave me a little bit of a hand motion to make progress stuff. Okay, so that's it on the ordinance?
All right.
Yeah, the ordinance, it's basically the wrong document. So what we call the ordinance is really the document that sets forth how much you're borrowing, how much interest rate that is went over with you, all of those things, and the security. So that one basically helps summarize a lot of the financial elements of it. That's what that ordinance is. That's the same ordinance you adopted.
It's a major.
And Craig, I'll make sure that I get a copy of all of this to the council, so they'll have every single document and they'll know exactly what was signed and documented for this loan.
Right, we did after we closed, we took the bond council will set the sheet, not only a full transcript, a lot of contact, but they'll also send you a account or transcript, the paper transcript as well. So, you can give our council information out, obviously, or you can wait until the
Okay. All right, so do you have any problem if I go ahead and ask for a motion?
I've got the flat portion there.
Thank you, sir. Do I need to go ahead and let you get off the phone?
No.
Thank you. All right, you've heard what Mr. Cunningham had to say. Are there any questions for him? Again, my colleagues on the paper, you will have all these papers in your boxes in the office. And we're going to, it was an error, human. Is your motion to adopt this ordinance for the water treatment for the?
You're gonna have, no one could hear, try to keep everything official, the conversation with Brad Shannon to recap what we're doing, so everyone
Okay.
who's listening can
And
understand.
let me go over this.
Take a microphone, this one talk.
Yeah, this one's.
No, actually, doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, let me try this again and get louder. We are on item number 2. And this is consideration and action with respect to the ordinance authorizing the issuance of $3,400,000 City of Blanco, Texas combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2020 and other related matters. What this is, in essence, is an ordinance, the Texas Water Development Board on April the 9th approved, the extra money for the funds that the city is needing to go ahead and complete our rehabilitation project for the water treatment plant. This was approved back in 2015, 16, and it's something that we've been needing to get done. So we have a finance advisor, we have a bond counsel that are out of the Dallas area, and Mr. Cunningham was on the phone with us, and he's explaining to council as to what is the value of we got extremely low interest on these loans. We did it before with the wastewater treatment plant, and we're getting even lower now. And that's perhaps due to the type of the sign of the times that we're going through right now, but the interest rates are exceptionally low. They are long-term loans. This is federal money that's being borrowed. Numerous cities around the state of Texas seek the Water Development Board out for these types of loans. Because, quite frankly, to do it on our own, we cannot fix our infrastructure just with the monies that we bring in from the sale of water and the sewer charges that we have. There was a slight error on my part, and I did not get all this to the council's packet, but it is on the agenda, and I'll make sure the council has all these documents. Whenever these loans go through like this, the amount of paperwork that goes into it is huge. The water loan application was done by myself, our engineer, Tom Turk, and Mr. Cunningham, and also Mr. Fowler, who's our bond counsel. This is a very big step forward for the city. We needed to update this water treatment plant for a very long time. If anybody was around in 2015, which I'm sure many of you were, that plant was impacted by the floods. We know that was a 500-year flood, but nonetheless, it took a big hit. And it has been the goal of the council to make sure that we provide safe, adequate water for our citizens. And by getting this rehab project done, we will be able to do that. I applaud this council because before I became mayor, they had voted this action in. And it's taken us a while to get here, but we feel like within about a year's time, we're going to be able to see it done, and it will move us much forward. So that's the essence of this ordinance that we're passing tonight. I hope we're going to take a motion for it a moment and try to pass. And that's that.
All right.
I would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that, we ask for the ordinance authorizing issuance of $3,400,000 City of Blanco, Texas combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Mayor, this is Bart Fowler.
All in favor of the motion? Thank you, council. All right.
Mayor, can you hear me?
Item number 3 is discuss and consider action on notice to proceed with rehabilitation project water treatment plant. Can you go down to that, Mr. Kirk?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'm Kirk with Phillips Circuit Engineering Group. Thank you for having me here tonight. The next step in all this is to award the contract to Archer Western, who was the lowest responsible bidder. It was recommended by the previous engineer. Part of that step is the letter of sufficiency, which I believe was part of the last motion, the package.
Yes,
Okay. We have to get that to the Water Development Board along with a number of other items that they already have. And once the Water Development Board reviews all that documentation, and is happy with what they have, they will give us the okay, and then we'll issue the notice of award. You may remember back in, I think it was September or October? September, that you passed a motion to award the contract to Archer Western on the condition that you were able to arrange financing through the Water Development Board. And I believe that has been satisfied now. So we're almost ready to go. And I think the mayor put it on the agenda just so everybody understood where we were and what we're doing, how to reaffirm where we're going.
Right, and the reason there's not a letter of certificate in your packet is because it did not have city letterhead on it, so we're getting it retyped up. I checked with Cunningham. He said it can be approved, and you will have a copy of that, and maybe assigned it to you. But it's just first go to you.
What was the name of the company you're working with again?
Archer Western.
WESTIN?
Western.
Western.
Archer Western.
And they have worked with us very diligently in this process by holding on to their price line up until we got this process of the loan approved. And that was when Mr. Cunningham was talking about how the water board has worked with us to make sure that we could get this moved as quickly as possible and make sure everything was done properly. So it's a letter to proceed and it'll go to the contract. I'll entertain a motion. And you will get a copy of that also.
I would move that we proceed with the rehabilitation project of the water treatment plant.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Councilman. Water plant is on its way. Thank you, Mr. Kirk. All right, item number 4. We will go into a public hearing. This is related to a discussion on water rates. And at 6:29 p.m., I will shut down the regular meeting and open up at 6:29 for the public hearing. And this is to typically discuss the water rates that are being proposed for the city of Blanco. It's as required by the Texas Local Government Code. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Blanco, Texas, will conduct a public hearing during a regular meeting on April 14th, 2020 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of considering ordinance number to be announced to adopt and approve new fees for water, sewer, and waste collection in the City of Blanco and Blanco's ETJ and provide the following notice. The meeting is being held at the Byers Building, 308 Pecan Street, Blanco, Texas. This went into the paper. Council is fully aware of the time element that we're in on these rate increases, and this is open for discussion. I do not believe that we had any notices of public comments on water rates. If not, then I would open this up for council to have a discussion.
We pretty much discussed it.
So council, your viewpoint is that how are you looking at your timeline? We're usually working into getting increases in the rates.
Well, and that's one thing I want to stress is we're just discussing this right now. We do not know with the COVID situation, we do not know when we'll actually do these rates, but we have to have 2 public hearings, and we just figured we would have one and, you know, start the conversations. So I'm hoping to, you know, get some feedback from, you know, from our citizens, and I don't know if it's because of the situation we're in, that, you know, I don't know how it would have been had we had an actual meeting here and people show up, or, but I encourage any of the citizens, you know, to talk to any of the council members or just to see what we're proposing and, you know, to start that discussion with us.
And if the notice, it's going to be in the paper for the next public hearing, which will be the main.
Maybe.
Right, so that everyone understands what we just said. There will be another notice in the Blanco paper in May for the regular city council meeting in May, and there'll be a public hearing. Please realize this gives you an opportunity to send in written comments to, as Mayor Pro Tem said, please reach out to your council members and let them know what your viewpoints on this are. Also know this, that the water services that the city provides, the wastewater services that the city provides, it has to get to a point to where what we're bringing in Mays, not to overcharge our residents in any way, but it has to get to where it's kind of quote paying for itself. The council has been very conservative on their approach of trying to look at how to do these water rates and sewer rates, and they're not going to try to gouge anybody. And as Mayor Pro Tem said, right now it's not the time that everybody's looking at it, but this discussion has to take place. The city must keep up their infrastructure. You cannot let it age and get to where you're trying to tie pieces of it together and keep it working. And we have an obligation, I believe Councilmember Lewis has said this several times, it is one of his biggest goals that we make sure that we provide the safest water possible, and that's what we're trying to do. So please, we urge you, we encourage you, please reach out and to let people know how you feel about the rates being raised. This is your town, and you live here, and we need your input.
And I want to make a point that right now we have no intention of raising residential rates for anybody that uses under 5,000 gallons a month.
I think that's important to people to realize that.
If you use more than 5,000 gallons, you will see an increase. But under 5,000, residents will not see an increase in their water rate.
Anybody else on council? All right, with that, I will close, this is no action tonight, I will close the public hearing at 6:33 and go back into regular session at 6:33.1. Yes, sir. Councilmember Bella is absent due to illness. Everybody else is present, sir. Yes, sir. I know. Yes? Yes, sir. Everybody but Mr. Bell. Thank you. Good question. All right, we're now down to number 5. This is to discuss and consider action on the special use permit of the Majestic Hills. A rough explanation of Majestic Hills is that if you've driven through Blanco, you've seen their sales offers, and council does have this in their package. This was done through a special permit, and special permit, I might have to ask a little bit of assistance on this, but special permit is done for 12 months at a time. And it can be extended if need be, so the time has come where the city has to look at this. And I'm going to sit back and let the council begin the discussion. We've got some letters of objections. We have some letters of encouragement, saying we think this is a good thing to be here in the town and the value that they bring to the city. So, council, lead off. Start going.
I have clarification is they want an extension for another 6 months, for a total of 18 months.
Not,
And one extension for 18 months.
Another 18 months. Okay, I didn't know how to read this.
it wasn't actually clear.
They're requesting to be an extension for 18 months.
Okay, so the issue at hand is that this is being asked for an extension of 18 months. So that we're clarifying, so everybody can hear it.
So do we have a representative or can they,
They're up there. Well,
or how?
Zach Hudler,
Zach Hudler's there.
I'm here with Price Heaver, who's with Majestic Hills. He'd like to say a few words if possible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody, for your time, Mayor and council members. Just to give everybody a little information on the project itself before I go into some of the things that are a big benefit for the city of Blanco is Majestic Hills is a 5 to 75 acre tract acreage community restricted to custom homes. People can buy now and build later. So they're kind of slow movers with an average price point with a run out that we did on some tax benefits to the county, to the city, and more importantly, the school district. The average household out there will be a $500,000 value. And we did a 20-year run out for the project, and it's going to generate about $12 million for Blanco Independent School District. So another important factor to remember in that number is 95% of our customers who have bought from us so far, and we've sold about 90 properties out there since we've been open, are retirees. So they're not putting any more students into the school district. So that's a lot of money that the school district can use without their school getting any more crowded. So another thing that we like to do as a company, we support the local businesses. We've spent several $1,000s at the old 300 for either catering our events or even leasing out their old 40 dance hall in the back, and we have a sales center. We've spent several $1,000s with the Best Western Plus. One of the things we like our customers to do is come in the night before if they're coming from out of town and really explore and get to see what Blanco has to offer. So we've established an excellent relationship with Texas Regional Bank. Callan and them have done, I believe, over $3 million worth of loans for us. And once again, we try to keep as much local as we can. Another important factor is we are generous. We're not a normal developer that comes in, makes their money and leaves. I mean, we've donated money to the Gym of the Hills. We've donated money to the Blanco Education Foundation. We've donated money to the Blanco County EMS. We've donated money to the Blanco ISD Ag program. As of recently, we also donated some money. Unfortunately, the event was canceled due to the COVID going on now. We sponsored we did one of the premier sponsors for the Rotary Club, the golf tournament. So we're going to continue to give back. All we're asking for is we've spent, I'm sure y'all see the pictures in there. Y'all probably remember the old house that was there. But that old house was a hazard. There was things in there that I probably don't want to say publicly. And I've submitted some pictures of that along with the letters and stuff that you guys have. And we're just asking to stay where we're at, keep giving back to the community for another 18 months, and that building will be gone. It's a temporary sales building. It's no one lives there. No one has ever lived in there. And it's just a temporary office. That's why I made the point of also putting some pictures of the office in there, because we heard some rumblings early on that they thought people were living in there, and that's not the case. That is a sales center. So we would appreciate anything you could do to help us out in this matter. And we look forward to continuing to do business in Blanco.
So one question I have for you is, were you aware that the permit was for 1 year only and that you would have to ask for an extension?
I was aware that we received a temporary permit. I was aware of that. I also was aware that basically it was mentioned to me that the process was pretty straightforward. If you're a good neighbor, that it was not going to be a problem if we needed to continue out the project. So
If the office had to be relocated, do you have another site in mind where it could go?
I'm sorry.
If the office has to be.
If the property were to have to be relocated, do you have another site in mind for placing it?
No, sir, we sure don't.
Why wouldn't you relocate it to your, where the land is actually located?
A couple of different reasons. The main reason is we like to show people around the town of what they're buying. I mean, it's a whole package out there, so we like to show people the town and that kind of stuff. And also for marketability, we like to get, people that just drive by and stop in the office. So it's kind of twofold.
Who is the actual property owner? I'm wondering what other use the property could have, and would it be occupied quickly if they were to leave?
Well, it's Thaddeus that owns it, and his wife.
He might be on the call.
Yeah, Millard.
Are they on the call?
No, I don't believe so.
So,
I mean, we invested a substantial amount of money with Thaddeus on removing, the house and getting everything cleaned up, trimmed up.
So as a conversation amongst us, I guess, in my opinion, and there's pictures in our packet of the old house that was there and, the eyesore that it was. And yeah, I know we don't want mobile homes in here, but it was definitely landscaped well. But also realize we don't want to set precedents and, there's, other things to consider, but
Right.
I don't know about going 18 months, but I could definitely see going a year. I think a year would be fair. I mean, you had a good point. I mean, if we tell them to move it, and we're going to have an empty lot there, and they do bring business into the town with this COVID stuff going on. As soon as all that is complete, we're going to need as many people coming into town, and if they're coming in to buy land, that they do stop and shop. And there are letters here from.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
There's letters from some of the businesses, that say there are a few, a couple of letters, opposing it, but right now I could see at least extending it a year.
I would probably be the one to come down on the other side of the fence on this. I feel like that a loophole was exploited to get that temporary building in there to begin with. Normally, I'm a proponent of small business and want to promote small business. Since they've been here, it hasn't been a huge impact other than complaints from constituents because they think that a rule has been subrogated, I guess would be the right word. I would say I would probably fall where Martin is. I would give them, we extend for a year at a time. I wouldn't go beyond that year at a time if we were to do it. However, we will probably see some, complaints from city people, because what we really don't want is we don't want that type of building or manufactured building in our city. I think that we, as a council, should learn a lesson from this and see. So they came in and said, we want to be here for a year. The gentleman said, oh, well, if we're good neighbors, will extend. I was never told that. I never heard that. I was absolutely told that they would be here for a year. That was it. And then they would move on. And now we see that they've come back and they're asking for more time than they originally had. So that's my big gripe with this.
I understand what you're saying, but there was no malicious intent or slide under the radar type of thing. I mean, it was, we went in, we applied for the permit, we got the permit issued. We talked to the city staff about what happens if, and that's what we were told. So I'm not sure.
How long is the permit issued presently?
1 year.
1
And
year.
it expires pretty soon. Had to
And the
hear
year is up.
pretty
The
close.
year is almost up. Yes. I think they got a couple months left.
April
When
30th.
does it actually expire?
April 30th, is that what you said? April 30th.
April 30th.
And one thing I have to say is, I think it's on us to figure out or close that loophole. Basically, we need to follow up on,
Yeah, it's up to
on
us.
the,
The new UDC, the layout of the UDC left that open. Now the UDC addresses that with that.
Okay.
okay. So, yeah,
Any other further discussion about?
any discussion on,
If not, I would call for a motion.
well, then I will make a motion to extend it, the permit for 1 more year. 12 months.
Yeah.
Is there a second? Motion
And
fails.
wait, well, hold on. Hold on. No.
You have a motion on the table for 1 year to extend the permit.
I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
So that would be an extension through April of 2021.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, extended through April 2021. No discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All right, 3 in favor, 1 opposed. Motion passes. All right, next item up is to discuss and consider action on the abandonment of the easement in the Pittsburgh subdivision. I'm going to have to ask staff to give some explanation because I am not up to date on this.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Pittsburgh subdivision and easement, I need a little update on it.
It is a easement that runs, really, there's nothing we can do right now. That just needs to be tabled to the next meeting, that is due to the fact that they have to provide filtering from the building property owners, which are also affected with the same, road cutting through there, so there's nothing we can do that's tabled to the next meeting.
All right, so council visits can take it to the following week. No action on that. All right. Now, next item up is number 7, discuss and consider action on also subdivision preliminary plan. I have met with, Mr. Higgle and Orlando at least once, and this is a proposed subdivision in the Blanco, city of Blanco area, and again, I'm going to have to ask a little bit of assistance from staff.
Hugo was actually online. He is welcome to add what he wants to. We did have input from the P&Z that were in favor of it. There were 3 smaller lot issues that may or may not, that would have to address during the PDD, but right now we're just looking for council's approval to take into consideration what's been offered and move on to the PDD process to be able to present it, then we can vote as to where we go.
So currently, planning and zoning has canceled their meetings due to the COVID-19. So is it my understanding that P and Z has not officially had this brought before them?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the State-Owned property?
No, no.
This is, an area, correct me if I'm wrong, this is very close to the elementary school.
Right across from the elementary between 11th and 12th streets,
And about how many acres?
3 something. It's a full city block.
So right across the old gym, I don't know if you know where the old
Yeah.
gym is, just north of the Upshaws. I think that's 12th, is it 12th Street? No, 11th Street. So just north of 11th Street from 11th to 13th.
The 12th.
And then, well, after 11th to 12th,
Between
and then I don't know if we wanna
Hackberry
let
and,
Hugo do his little part.
and Green Lawn, Mesquite, yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
Your voice, is that
Yeah.
you, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I have the floor, I'd like to just offer a few little bullet points.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, first of all, I appreciate you as mayor and council coming together for these meetings, and it's a little difficult in this day and time to organize these and get people together, and it's much appreciated. I've owned the property since late December 2003. I purchased it from Rebecca Howerton. And always intended to divide the property. For various reasons over the years, that development has been deferred to this day. I am a civil engineer. I have my consulting firm. I've been doing land development and commercial site development for almost 30 years. I live in Blanco County. And I've been a resident there since over 20 years, and I'm really excited about moving this project forward. The idea was always to have site-built residential homes, near the school, and it's a short walk for anyone that has kids in the school system to the elementary school, and not that far to the middle school, and heck, even a short bike ride, to the high school. The project doesn't have adequate infrastructure, so we're prepared to improve 12th Street all the way to Green Lawn. About mid-block, it just stops at the old Cedar Street right away. The Cedar Street right away is not open through this track nor through the Upshur track to the south. Through the years, I've seen the cycles of larger lots and smaller lots, and I've seen cities that adjust ordinances, based on demand. Currently, the cost of construction, although it's been fairly stable, the materials continue to climb, and the operators or labor force is very competitive. So what I'm seeing trending these days, and we work all over Central Texas as design engineers and consultants. Presently, we have subdivisions in Georgetown, even Niederwald, San Marcos. We're working on a project in Burnett at its very inception right now, planning stages, City of Lockhart. And my point is that there's the lots currently, the frontage is what really becomes the divider, for the infrastructure cost. And we've met with city staff a couple of times on this, and over the years with other staff. We believe this project will be a quality garden home development that through the PDD process, we can work through some of those code constraints that will allow this project to move forward.
Okay. So I would have a couple questions for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I read through some kind of email chains discussing you earlier today. It looks like a couple of the lots you have are still smaller than what our R3 requirements are. Could you make adjustments for that so that the property would all fit within our city requirement without having to get a variance?
Yeah, the R3, I guess, is you're talking about the square footage, the 6,500.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We can look really hard at those. Some of the lots that were shorter way back then when we did this layout, we were trying to align it with an existing fence, at the on the little house that's there on the property. But I looked at that, and we can shift that. We can shift that line and still be no closer than 10 feet to the house.
And the other question I would have would be on the abandonment of the city street there. Are you prepared to do something for the city, like put some additional green space in that's usable for our city residents?
Yes, sir. What I had planned was to obviously clear that, with the exception of the oak mott's that are there, and develop a walking trail, a decomposed granite trail. We would have bollards on either end, that with maybe one that's removable, so vehicles could not access through there, and provide some benches and things like that, so people can enjoy that open space.
Okay. One of the things that I'm a proponent of is walkable cities. I want Blanco to be a walkable city where people have a high quality of life. And it is the case that you plan to sidewalk and gutter the entire neighborhood. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
The not gutter, but certainly sidewalk. The current streets are they're not curbed and guttered. But sidewalks, I think are certainly beneficial this close to the school and be incorporated to the project.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Mr. Elizondo, have you had an opportunity to speak with the school, with the administration, including what their viewpoint is on subdivision?
No, I've not reached out to the school district, Mayor.
Okay.
But I'll be glad to.
Look at them later.
How many homes are we talking about?
Currently, there's 22 lots, and there's one detention lot. There's currently one manufactured home there that, if you guys have been around Blanco, at one time there was 3, and I've had 2 of them removed, and I'm down to 1, and that would go also.
So timeline wise, if we approve or whatever we have to do today, of course we have to start on the PDD. But after the PDD is approved, how long are you thinking? I mean, is it going to start real fast or?
Yes, sir. At this point, I actually have a couple of partners that are on staff. They've one has been with me over 10 years, and very interested in moving this thing forward. I've talked to my bank and also reach out to the local bank about funding the infrastructure. My bank is Sage Capital out of San Marcos, and they responded a couple of weeks ago and said they're ready to move forward. We have all the preliminary engineering completed. We will then move forward with developing the construction drawings. The mayor and Will they had sent me a draft of the Tractor Supply PDD, and I'm working through the details of that as we speak. And I hope to be able to forward that to the city staff within the next week. And yes, I do want to move this thing forward. I'm not getting any younger, so I'd like to get something done with it.
My only question would be is that would this go ahead, and if this were approved tonight, does it still need to go through the planning and zoning for them to review the PDD? Because we did Tractor Supply, they
Yes.
reviewed the PDD, We had a member of the PZ, we even had someone we had citizens to let them see things later on and what's trying to be developed in the city of Blanco. We also had our engineer take a look at the plans that we used, was meeting city specifications. So that's, I want to make sure all that is adhered to.
All of that is off, as well as the public notice and everything will have to go out. We're just, again, just looking to get approval from council based on what you have now to move forward with PDD. PDD is a whole lot of work. Of course, we don't want to do it. It's not going to happen.
Okay, any other questions by council?
I would just say I would like to review the designs, which it's not convenient to do now, but other than that, I don't have any further questions.
I will entertain a motion.
Oh, we're making a motion to.
It's giving you scope for consider action or take no action, that's your call.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to let them know if we're moving forward, or whether we need to do a actual, I mean, I guess it's probably safer, so I'll make a motion to move forward with working on a PDD for, what's it called again?
Los Altos.
Los Altos,
To be presented to PNC.
to be presented to P and Z.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor? Thank you, council. Thank you, Hugo.
Thank
Oh, go ahead.
Question.
Hold on.
Because planning and zoning is not me, and who wants to move forward quickly, or, you know, it could be July.
They do it this way.
Yeah,
No,
and-
I was gonna have a talk with them and see if they can start meeting like this. I mean, I think
They need
should
to.
be able to meet like this, and
And-
especially when we have something big like that, you know,
Yeah.
if there's nothing.
And we don't have to be as fancy as what Will has done here. I've been using, on the county calls, Zoom meetings have worked, I think, extremely well. So they can meet by Zoom very easily, all of them. So,
Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you. Good evening. Be safe.
You too. All right, number 8, this is discuss and consider action on new task order by Ms. Church for the work. You're up, sir.
And again, Mayor, Council, if you recall, back in September of last year, we were issued a task order to provide assistance to the city of Blanco in getting the financial package done for the water treatment plant. Since September, we've been helping the mayor. We've accomplished quite a bit to get to where we are today. Unfortunately, there was not time to procure it under the Water Development Board rules. And those funds have been ruled ineligible for reimbursement, so that has to come out of the city's pocket, so to speak. Since last meeting, when you did select us for the water, through the Water Development Board process, we just need to have that task order and create a new one so that we can get that to the Water Development Board and have them approve the contract. So this is simply a paperwork exercise.
and that was the first one that was in my packet, right? So the first one's the new one, and then we saw another one, which is the old one. Okay.
The difference between the two is pretty simple. We added the construction materials and testing scope of work. It was not in the original task order. We've changed the fee structure just a little bit. We've updated the numbers to reflect the current budget that we did not have back in September. We added in fee for the construction material testing. And we're going to give you credit for the work that's been done up until this point. And that's to be determined in that particular item, but it's just a little over $16,000. So you'll get that back. So even though it says 172, it's really going to be minus 16,000.
Okay.
How much is the number again?
What's 172 minus 16?
Okay.
Whatever that.
156.
33.
paid attention in school.
What's happening right here?
So that's the only difference between the two.
So, okay.
Move that we approve the new task order for water treatment.
Moment. Is there a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor? All right. Thank you, Mr. Kirk. You're good working on the water treatment plant.
Get to work. Let's get going.
All right, number 9, discuss and take action on text dot speed limit reduction. It's in your packet.
Word.
All right, and,
Then I have a question, what about the,
ignore the other one in your packet. We do not
water
want to,
treatment project?
we need to wait for it to come, we can just ignore that. They'll come back to you. Because they are down to fix it. This is a ordinance, the city of Winter, Texas, dealing with the speed limit, U.S. Highway 31, the city limits of the city of Winter, defining speeding and fixing the country thereof, determining what may be a sufficient complaint and prosecution you're under with the saving clause, getting the conflicting laws of declaring an emergency. I believe, Richard, you can help me out on this a little bit, but there's been a study done on Highway 281 quite a bit of time. And it shows northbound US 51 from mile point 30.025, which is south of the city limits. With a mile point 29.175, the difference of 0.850 miles with a speed limit of 55 miles an hour. South traffic. This is south of Blanco Avenue, and that speed limit also would be 55 miles an hour. This study was done, I think, by TxDOT, if I'm not mistaken, quite a while ago, and this is just now coming in for the city to update the ordinance. Anything you want to add?
Well, that second part there, it's 50 now. Why would you go to 50?
Yeah.
I'm unclear. So, Chief, maybe you can clear this up for me. So, on the northbound, it says from mile point 30.025 to mile point 29175 south of Blanco Avenue. So that's where exactly are they talking about? Are they talking about from Peterson's to Blanco Avenue at the light? That's what they're talking about? Well, TxDOT reduced the speed limit. I don't know if y'all remember this, about 2 years ago, it was supposed to have gone down to 60 miles an hour. They never changed the sign. And if you call TxDOT to this day, they will tell you the speed limit is 60 miles an hour there, but the sign does not reflect that. So I don't have much confidence in any of this information.
So this came into the office and kind of.
I received this information from Hector Tomez with TxDOT.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Okay.
Okay.
If you flip through your packet, one more page, you will see the map that actually specifies. What I was trying to get from Mr. Tomez by this afternoon was actual pictures of where these transitions of the speed limits will be taking place. And you are 100% right. According to TxDOT's mapping, they show the speed limit is currently 60 miles an hour. When you pass by, the signs are 65. What you have before you is merely just a formality. They are looking to change that speed limit down to 55 miles an hour. Where this starts, it's really hard to tell on these maps. That's why I really wanted some pictures to be able to show up from there. But as it states in the wording again, you're about Blanco Avenue to our city, right on the other side of our city limits. So you're looking around Peterson Tire, the fruit stand, the vegetable stand, whatever it used to be up there, in that area coming to Blanco Avenue. But yes, will be updated with the new and correct sign, everything else going from there. This is, again, formality. TxDOT will be doing this one way or another. I'm told we have to pass it as an ordinance so that way we can enforce it within our city limits. Chief might have more to say on that.
That's not correct, even though it is a state highway. But my problem with it is, I've been asking for 7 years to back it up all the way to
32.
Yes.
Where it's because it's so dangerous coming around that curve.
There, and then I wanted it 45 in front of the stripes.
Absolutely.
But I think there is some authority from the city council to go to them and say, hey, this road is within our city limits. We want it this big.
Well, I've been to their meetings. They aren't, I mean, I haven't been to one recently, but they're not very receptive to anything we have to say.
They're not, when I have sent them a request to do the study or reduce the speed, they come back with these, formulas that they use. And then, so this is the way we calculate at what level the speed should be.
Right.
I don't care about that. What I care about is the safety, the dead stop traffic, 18-wheelers pulling out of stripes, and that's where the issues are, but they don't see it that way. They look at a formula.
Yeah, like population, like what, I don't want to get too far off the subject. One of the things that irks me the most is if you drive to San Antonio, right, you get down there, the Spring Branch area by where the post office, and the speed limit's 55 through there, and there's nothing. There's nothing there. You come here to town where it's extremely dangerous, and they've got our speed limit at 65.
I think maybe another example is if you've driven to Marble Falls lately. Marble Falls has extended their speeds, reduced them way out.
Way out.
71.
Yes.
And I don't understand how they're getting it done. I
Must be a
met a person like this with the engineers. I've shown them diagrams. I says, this is what I've given them. Documentation, it's the number of accidents that have been, and then like it falls on deaf ears.
I agree.
So the purpose of this is you're just wanting us to get this updated into an ordinance?
Once we adopt the ordinance and supersede the one that was done in, I believe this is just showing 2016, setting the speed limit at 60 miles an hour, then we would be able to enforce that within our city limits by the PD. But,
So
I mean, if somebody wanted to take this and say,
Let's change it to 45.
well, right, you know what I mean? Kind of use this as a stepping stone to actually go
can
through
we
it.
do that? Because I'm willing to make that motion.
I would even say I mean, at this point, it could be tabled until we can find out otherwise, but.
I think you have a lot of authority what those speed limits are here within your city. This is exactly right, is what they're saying is if you put up, you authorize a sign for no parking on the south side of the old fire station. But that's what it takes for us to enforce it, is the city ordinance. But they don't have the issues anymore with the fire station because they couldn't get those big trucks out on the south side. So they always had to park around the east side. So they're exactly right. The city ordinance should be there. But we still enforce state regulations. So I don't know that it is detrimental that we had the city ordinance to enforce it. A lot of those laws are state, and if you go back and just look at your third stoplight on your trucks, that's a federal law, and we're allowed to enforce it because the statutes say that in the state of Texas, we have accepted all federal laws for vehicles. And you've never passed an ordinance.
Hector Temez, TAMAD.
If you don't have, if you table it today, but it doesn't affect them, either way, it's just.
When trying to get a timeline to actually, get a date to say, hey, October 1, this is what we're looking to do it. It seemed like it was so preliminary that we have plenty of time.
Okay, so with that being said, I would say let's table it, and we can have a conversation and say, if we're gonna change it, what's the authority we have to change it to something we feel is more appropriate? Yeah, because we get part, it's always been an issue, we kind of get part, and even at 55, and that is a dangerous situation, we might take a left and get started.
And I don't know who's been to Tractor Supply, but you're taking your life in your hands trying to turn left at the Tractor Supply. Well, actually, I do too. So I don't even try to turn left. I'll go all the way around the loop and come back the other way just so I can turn right. So
I've gone as far as Diagram and Get Park, another really dangerous. Those kids are in there all the time for baseball, functions, soccer, and you can't get in and out of there.
no, you
It's
can't.
ridiculous.
I would say that TxDOT is endangering our youth with their inaction. Actually, and I'm usually pretty tame when it comes to getting upset about stuff, but this is one of those issues that actually really upsets me, so.
So, no action, council?
Well, I think, I said, there would change liability if we don't try to do something.
Right. We're gonna make a motion or just blow it off.
Let's make a motion.
All right, I make a motion that we table, what do we call it, TxDOT speed limit reduction for further investigation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Thank you, council. All right, Chief Ritchie, you're up for the next 3 items. This is, consideration of, the person for the piano.
Yeah, two
For the officer or the
Yeah.
both. We have two issues really with the canine. He has recently built a house out off of 46, which if you look at the way the crow flies, it's 24 miles. If you use the street mileage, it's 26.25. The personnel manual says 25 miles to take the car home. If you don't allow him to take the car home, then you're going to have to find a place to board the dog. It's going to be cheaper and better for you to allow the officers to take the dog, vehicle home. If you read the personnel manual, which I have given you a copy of, it says I can actually authorize that. But I don't want to be caught in here saying, hey, I'm jumping the gun, because I want to present that to you to show that that's occurring, because I know in the past there have been people taking cars on 40 and 50 miles. I don't want that to be left up to me, basically, say that I'm violating this general man, but there is a part in there that says I can do that. The other issue is, which we did have a kennel built at the place he is at now with grant money, originally back in 15, I guess it was. We're going to need some money to build another kennel at this officer's house. There may be some options there, and I know that you discussed a while ago, we're going to have to look at our budgets and be careful with them. I know that I'm going to have monies there. I know that there's about $65,000 in what they call the mobility fund right now. I do not have an estimate of how much that's going to cost, but I would think somewhere around $1,500 to $3,000.
And I'm also trying to work with video.
So those are some other options. I don't really think I need anything from you tonight, but I want to make you aware of that those are coming. Those will be issues that you, especially the kennel parts, you're going to have to address if we don't get the donation.
Can that part of the kennel be moved?
I'm not familiar with how that one is set up. It may be able to, but then again, a lot of times when you build something like that on a rental property, when you build something, it normally stays. Now, that being said, I did ask the officer that question earlier today, and he says the problem with it is they built that one out of steel. Well, when he urinated on it, it has rusted it. They didn't buy the galvanized chain link type fence. So it's kind of deteriorated over the years through use. I'd have to go
I know
look at it.
that Paul's priced a few of these out at Tractor Supply, and I think she got anywhere from 1,200 to around 1,600 that they have some jobs got to have a covering.
He has described to me the place it's going to be. He has one of these hills, houses where it's on a slight decline or incline, and the back patio sits. There's a back patio that has room under it, so he's going to fence that type in and put that dog under it so it's shaded, and then I think it faces the east, so he won't have that west sun. So he's basically picked out a place for it to be safe and healthy. That's a daytime kennel. The night times he puts it indoors so that it's secured.
At this time, you don't need any answers, you can give us.
Not really.
Okay. I was also reading this, from y'all one, or you kind of.
I mentioned both of them.
The next one is about the
vehicle.
I think you're saying on that. 5 miles from Michael County.
From the county line is what the chain.
I think so, you would, 25, so that's really have to do on that.
Okay, so chief, yeah, the racial profile.
You know, the racial profiling is something I provide you every year. And I would like to say that my 7 years here, We have never had an issue with any of our racial profile. The officers are very aware of it. They're conscientious about it. I don't think I've ever received even a complaint about. Yes, I did.
Yep, I got
So there again, being conscious about it, and it's even better, excuse me, since we've had Kologic and CopSync, because these numbers are captured every time they call an individual in, how they stop them, what they stop them for. If the dog, excuse me, the dog's called over, and they search the car. So these are very accurate numbers in my opinion. I don't see a red flag in there. I looked at it. I think the one that you should look at, and I think be very proud of the guys. Look at the one with physical force. It's 0. You know, when you see that, they really eliminate lawsuits. If you were to look at lawsuits from the old department I came from, it's the physical force where they say it's unnecessary. That's where officers get in trouble. And you don't have a single one. And that's just to pass out for you. I'm required to do this to give the city council. It says there on that front page of the narrative that I'm required to give it to you. It's usually done in March, but in March we had a full agenda, so waited to give it to you. And it really didn't matter. We tried to turn this into TCO multiple times. I guess they are on COVID-19 also, and there's nobody in the office, so we haven't been able to get it to them. We can change that, but then we're going to get accused of stopping the females.
We just drive better.
Okay, all right. That takes care of Kenny, Melanie.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
The little I can do on the just for this.
thank you, Chief. All right, let's continue. Discuss and consideration on an ordinance with respect to election cancellation or order and ordinance. This is an ordinance for the city of Plainfield, Texas, issuing an order canceling the May 2nd, 2020 regular election, declaring unopposed candidates elected to office on Friday and Patriot Day. In civil language, we have 2 people that did not sign up to run again, both Mrs. Gaziel and Mr. Bell. And council members. We had 2 people sign up to step in, and they are Max Smith and Dita Devine. There was no opposition to either one of them, so in effect, we have no election. And even if we had an election with COVID-19, it would have been postponed, but there is no election, so this is an ordinance that we simply have to approve that there is no election, and they're unopposed.
I make a motion that we approve the ordinance canceling the mail.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Not all in favor? Thank you. All right, last item up is to accept the resignation of the mayor. And everyone's pretty much aware, I'm going to announce that I was resigning effective this Friday, April 17th, 2020, and I explained my reasons on where blood pressure comes tonight. It is due to my issue with high blood pressure, and it's not been an easy decision for me to make, but I have done it because my health has come first. I do want to say it's been an honor to serve and to work with each one of you. It's been fantastic. Someone needs to make up.
So,
Or any comments?
comments beforehand, I just wanted to thank the mayor, because I know he's put a lot of hours in there, and he's done a lot for the city, and I know we haven't always agreed, but I think he's done a good job, and I know we want your plaque there, but we'll make it a few other days. So, something else for you. So it says the city of Blanco honored Martha Durden for years of service and endless perseverance, elected mayor 2017 through 2000. Thank you very much. I know that's what that each other.
Thank you very much.
Let's get one for the,
Oh, yeah.
where you're both smiling and looking at the camera. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to hold that photo a minute. There you go. You want another one? You look closer to the flag. Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. I'm taking the floor.
What we have next?
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't. Table this.
I will make that motion. I move that we accept, Mayor Herter's resignation and wish her well and a speedy recovery.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion on all of it?
No, I'm clear.
So is that agree on?
What?
All right, thank you.
Who, what was the vote?
Or
All
Okay.
right, thank you very much. Okay, with that, we will get ready to get along to adjourn to executive session and let's go over what is in accordance with executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code, with the authority contained in Texas Government Code sections 551 and 551.072. Wastewater complaint discharge permit application, contested case hearing may be by attorney. And 551.071, consultation with attorney, legal consultation of real property matters, opinion litigation, or paradise property, and utility easement. I will take a motion to adjourn to executive.
I'll make a motion.
A second. All right, we're adjourned at 7:27.
Mayor, this is Brad, can you hear me?
Brad, I'll tell you to have Brad on this, or.
I got my money set aside. But I haven't seen them, but I do plan on talking to them to say that they need to move forward. They need to move forward with CNC meetings. I think it's a good job for an ex-council member to do is get back to CNC. You know, if anybody that's leaving council pretty soon that needs something to do in their
Well, I was gonna ask, are you gonna be willing to help us through the transition by doing, water rates and stuff?
I'm gonna finish the conference. and that's
We're back in executive session at 8:05 PM and, 8:05 PM, we're back into open session, I'm sorry, for executive. And, according to Texas Government Code for sections 551071, discharge wastewater treatment district permit, and then section 551072, pending litigation with Park Paradise, property. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we authorize legal counsel to draft a deal as discussed in executive session.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Voting passes. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved?
A second?
I'll second.
We're adjourned at 6 PM. Thank you, council.
Boy, not even dark yet.
It's not even dark yet.